It's Bruins Benders post-game live on the Inside the Rink YouTube channel with Matty and Connor Green tonight. Click subscribe to watch us all season long on the Inside the Rink YouTube channel. Follow on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, and more, and also on X at Bruins Benders. The Bruins drop a 6-2 decision to the Columbus Blue Jackets, a team that all of a sudden they're just having a bitch of a time against. Lose 5-1 the first time they played them. Now 6-2, and of course that 5-1 loss was the last game for Jim Montgomery, as head coach of the Boston Bruins. I don't know if this is just a Blue Jackets thing where it's just a tough matchup for the Bruins, or if tonight they just weren't ready to come out and get a win on the road to start post holiday break.
Yeah, the Bruins came out and they played pretty flat, but it seems like the Columbus Blue Jackets have their number so far this season. They were the golden BB for Jim Montgomery, and you come in tonight and it's a whole lot of fuck while you're watching this game tonight.
Yeah, it was horrific. I mean, it was pretty bad. It was like the Montgomery days, and tonight they get the goal early to take the 1-0 lead. Pavel Zacha was a nice setup from Pastrnak and a good play. And as you texted us, it was a great possession play. And it was the type of, style the Bruins have to play to score goals, because they have a bitch of a time scoring goals.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've been saying for, the past month or so that the Bruins used to play a very physical game where they would take the body instead of, just waving their stick through and taking the puck. And that created a lot more offensive chances for them possession-wise. And leading into that goal was to a T exactly what I've been talking about. So that made me a very happy camper, even though I was very quickly depressed after that.
Yeah, I mean, it was, after that, the Bruins penalty kill, which has not been great, for much of the year, and then started to get a little bit better. But now lately, the last 9 games, they've given up 10 power play goals. At one point there, they were 14 for the last 24 at 58% in the last 9 games. It's just not good enough in any way. And this was one of the things that they were really good at. This was a strength of the team for a while the last few years. And I know they lost a lot of their penalty killers, the Bergerons and Krejcis and DeBrusks and so forth, and Derek Forborts and all these guys. But for whatever reason, they especially on the road, it seems too, they just give up power play goal after power play goal. And tonight, Columbus 3 for 3, right out of the gate there. And that's your ball game right there.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of, what are you going to say about the same things over and over and over and over again about this team?
Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing, as you said, over and over. And tonight their penalty kill was pretty bad. Their possession was bad. I thought Charlie McAvoy was back to kind of doing the McAvoy things that you don't like to see him do.
And he got caught out of position multiple times that caused him to take a penalty.
And
multiple
that's been
times.
happening. That was happening when he wasn't playing well, is that he would just get out of position for whatever reason. I don't know if it's just trying to do too much, or just, that particular night, just not with it. I don't know what it is, but it's been really bad at times early on. I thought he was better with Sacco at coach, but tonight it was back to the same old thing with McAvoy. And there was a time when Mason Lowry, looked really bad on another play.
Oh my God. I texted you guys that it looked like he was standing on a manhole cover. He literally stood, on the front corner of the blue paint, and he spun from side to side, looking either way, but he didn't fucking move. And then they scored right after that. And it's just like, come on, bro. Like, show an effort. And then, we talked about effort probably 2 or 3 times tonight. Mark Kastelik later on in the game, just like controller disconnected. just
Yeah.
absolutely cruising into the zone.
Yeah. That
Why?
and I texted you guys on that one. Like, he literally was coasting into the offensive zone, into the defensive zone rather. And then here comes Columbus and just unmarked, and it's just an easy goal for the 6th goal. And it just seemed as though, again, like, I don't know if they thought they were just going to show up tonight and beat Columbus, or if they scored the first goal and they thought, okay, we're playing fine, we're doing our thing, and then all of a sudden it just turns to shit, and they don't, and it really wasn't Korpisalo's fault. I know we've been on,
But he looked horrible.
but he didn't look good. But there were times where he was really hung out to dry tonight, especially that last goal, and then of course the power play goals. I mean, they're allowing just too much ice. Just too much ice a lot of times tonight. And there was a time there where the Bruins only had, 16 shots or whatever it was going into the third. They ended up getting about 10 shots in the third or whatever. But that's after the game's over. For the most part, they didn't generate much offense. The high danger chances were like 26-7 or something, or shot attempts were 26-7. High danger chances were like 13-1 or something. I mean, it was a complete ass kicking for the first 40 minutes of the game.
Yeah, and you could see it on the scoreboard. You could see it on the broadcast. It was the same old story from the Bruins. But one of these things that I just started thinking about, going back to the penalty killing that you mentioned, let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that Sweeney's bottom 6 additions this last offseason were a success? Yes or no?
I think that Kastelik was a good pickup in that trade.
But overall, it's probably a no.
Overall, it's a no. I mean, Koepke came out white hot, hasn't done a damn thing since. Like, I barely hear his name now. He's a typical dime a dozen 4th liner now. And then look at the Max Joneses and the Riley Tufties and all those guys that don't even play on the team. So no, I would say no. And I said this at the beginning of the year. Like, to me, you can get a 4th liner at any time during the year. You can get some 4th line guy. So I said at the beginning of the year, play your younger guys, play your Farinaccis and your Kuntars and your Durans and those guys, and have them play at short money and see if they can do it. If they can't, then go get guys. But the need to get all these guys in the offseason, to me, was just unnecessary. You can go get those guys anytime. Every single trade deadline, a ton of 4th line guys change cities. It's all over the trade deadline. It's all over the transaction sheet. So I don't get it.
So the reason why I asked you that is, thinking back to it, most off seasons, he has done very well signing bottom 6 players that overperform their contracts, and most of those players are penalty killers.
Right.
This offseason, he completely failed in that department with the Max Joneses of the world. And it's showing on the penalty kill. They really don't have any consistency there.
Yeah, they don't have the same type of penalty killers. I mean, Lindholm and Zacha and Marchand and Coyle and stuff, but you lost your top. I mean, DeBrusco's a really good penalty killer, and they lost him. He was a good two-way. He's a two-way forward. Again, they didn't replace him. I don't care that they lost him so much. They didn't replace him. With a guy like that. You mentioned the other guys, not great penalty killers. And right now, Zadorov in there. Not the penalty killer that Derek Forbort is, as much as we rip on Forbort. He blocked shots all over the ice, penalty killing when he was going well. So again, didn't replace him. I don't care that Forbort's not here. What I'm saying is, you didn't replace him. Over there. So that's a big part of it. Like, their personnel on the penalty kill isn't great. And I said this before. Like, I would rather your penalty kill be really stout than your power play be really great. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can get away with a power play that's just not that great.
2011. Hello.
Yeah, 2011. That was terrible in the power play. But penalty kill, you need to be stout. You need to be. I'm going to do, for the next episode, I'm going to do an analysis of the teams who won the cup, or at least play in the cup finals, and see where they were in their penalty kill. Because I bet they're in the top 10 in penalty kill, all of them. Because you have to have a good penalty kill. You can't allow power play goals at the rate the Bruins are right now. Can't.
Yeah,
You just can't do it.
you have to be able to play really stingy and make people score 5-on-5 against you.
Yes,
And
you have to. And this
the
team,
Bruins just aren't that.
Nope. And they're not great 5-on-5, the Bruins. So they have to not. I mean, if they're giving up power play goals, they're in trouble. Like,
Yeah,
they have to scratch and claw 5-on-5 as it is.
the real bitch of this situation is they play poorly 5-on-5, giving up penalties, but they suck so bad on the penalty kill that it just turns into a goal anyway.
Yeah, they do. I mean, they take stick infractions, and I just thought tonight, they just didn't have it. They didn't show up for whatever reason, and I don't know what it is. And maybe it is Columbus. Like, here's the team that hurts Boston in the last, even when they were pretty good the last couple of years. The team that is like young forwards, pretty good speed, some skill. Maybe they make tons of mistakes, but if they are outworking you and playing at home, we saw it against Ottawa the last year or two. That the year that they won 65 games, Ottawa punched them in the mouth in Ottawa. Like, they had young forwards who were energetic and playing at home, feeding off the crowd. Columbus is a good home team, and they have a winning record at home this year, and they've been good at home. And the Bruins have not been good on the road. They're 8-3 or whatever it is. They're 500 on the road. And all of their blowout losses, except for the Columbus one, when that was a complete dumpster fire at home, all the other ones are on the road. Like at Carolina, at Winnipeg, at Seattle, at Columbus. Like, all of those games where they just completely implode are all on the road. And to me, a sign of a team that has really good leadership is not allowing that to happen on the road. That's where on the road, where it matters, your leadership. Like, you have to dig deeper to win those games because it's harder to win on the road. And to completely fold in that scenario means that, the leadership just isn't great. You know what I mean? It's not as good as it used to be. And that's why they're getting pounded sometimes against, it's not even better teams now. I don't think Columbus is a better team than Boston. I don't think Seattle's a better team than Boston.
Not.
No, Columbus or Seattle are not. But for Christ's sake, you're getting your ass handed to you by these teams. It's not close. Like,
it used to be that NHL teams would go on a road trip to figure shit out. They would be away from the wives, away from the kids, away from the bullshit, just chilling in the hotel, eating your meals, taking your naps, and playing hockey. And it seems like the Bruins, like, they have the worst ADHD in the world, and going on the road is miserable for them all of a sudden.
That first road game, I have to look at that too. On those road trips, like, what was it, 8-1 Winnipeg?
Yeah,
first game of the road
Seattle and got dushed.
Yeah, get killed in that one, and then they go to Columbus first day of that on the road after the holiday break. What happens? They get killed again. Like, so I don't know if that's a trend or what that is or what that means, but this is not the result after the game they played against Washington, which was a clinic defensively and the way they need to win against good teams, and then come in here tonight and get their balls handed to them is not what you would expect right now. We thought we were past that point, but here we are.
And I guess we can't say that it was a complete, road game, because they did fly into Columbus this morning. So it's kind of a one-off game for them.
Yeah. I mean, they flew in this morning, and I guess that's another thing. I don't know. I mean,
that's the schedule because of the NHLPA. They couldn't fly yesterday because it was still during the break.
Oh, so the break is the break, and that's it. Can't do anything. Okay.
Yep.
All right, let's get to some comments here after this 6-2 dusting. Matthew Curtis, October, November, Bruins are back. It certainly looked like it, didn't it? I mean, it looked like the team that Montgomery was rolling out there. It was just the same issues all coming back. And I'll tell you, this team loses any bit of focus or plays subpar in any way, they can't win. Like, they can't beat teams that are coming at them hard. Like, they can't do it. They aren't talented enough to just kind of get by and win the game. They get killed in that scenario, and that means your roster's flawed. You're just not as good as you should be or think you are or whatever it is. And here it is again. No call on Carlo getting his stick slashed and broken off the face-off. That is fucking ridiculous. Sorry, John, says T-Boz. And that was true. I mean, that was, hey, but look at, you make your own bet. I mean, they gave up 3 power play goals. Like, don't give up just, I don't know. Just don't give up power play goals. Like, just don't look like a complete dumpster fire. Don't get outshot 30-16 or whatever it was in the first 2 periods. Don't get outchanced, 26-7 and high danger of 13-1. Like, don't get your ass kicked by a team that's 500, 15-15.
You know what it's really like? It's like somebody who gets themselves into a shitty situation and then something even shittier happens, but they bitch about the even shittier thing that happens,
right.
but completely ignore how the fuck they got themselves into that scenario in the first place.
It's
like if you would have avoided that,
right,
you wouldn't get here.
It's a complete loser mentality. As I said it all the time when I was coaching, like if this happened, that wouldn't happen. Like if you get a rebound, like I coach basketball, if you go up at 3 offensive rebounds and finally foul the guy the 4th time, well, if you got a rebound, you wouldn't foul them. You wouldn't bitch about that call. Like, so that's just the whole loser mentality thing. Like, take care of your own shit and it won't happen. Like that's, ripping shots of tequila, says Matthew Curtis. Herradura legend. Okay. Hey, tequila's tequila. Fire it away. And he was blown away by how they showed up tonight. And I was too. I mean, I really thought that they had turned that corner and not really had done that thing again. And then when they scored early tonight, a really nice play, I was like, okay, like this is a game they can win and maybe get 4 points out of this back-to-back. Like, all right, and hit the ground running. But nope. I mean, it just completely folded on them. T-Boss says, how easy are we to play against right now? Girl Scout cookie easy. I'll tell you what, they always talk about being hard to play against and all that. I don't believe this team is that hard to play against. They were against Washington, but there's not enough times over the course of the season where they are. And tonight there was a ton of ice for Columbus. All the time.
Speaking of Girl Scout cookies, what's everybody's favorite Girl Scout cookie?
Oh my God, peanut butter sandwich. Those peanut butter sandwich ones? What are those? The ones that are sandwich, like almost like a Nutter Butter, like the two cookies with the peanut butter filling in the middle, like not the chocolate covered thing, not the whatever the fuck that is.
It's the fudge covered ones?
No, not the fudge, the other ones.
The peanut
ones
butter
that are
patties?
Peanut butter patties, right? Those
all
are
right.
the two. Yes, peanut butter patties all day. I could eat a row of that right now.
I'm a Thin Mints guy myself, personally.
Are you a Thin Mints? Do you Thin Mints in the freezer, or what do you do?
No, just regular ripping them straight out of the box, I guess. But what's really weird is I don't really like mint anything else.
Really? Just the Thin Mints?
Yeah. I don't know why.
All right.
Anywho.
I used to like the old Samoas. They're not Samoas anymore. They're the caramel, whatever, dreams or whatever they're called. I don't know what they're called. But those coconutty things, I used to like those pretty good, and I still do. But peanut butter patties or sandwich or whatever the fuck that is.
Give me that every day. Jumps in. He's a Samoas fan.
Samoas, okay. Hey, yeah, me too. We shouldn't be surprised. Remember, we were playing with an incomplete roster, and that's what Sweeney said at the beginning of the year, and it's true. But my thing is like, what's the matter with a tweak right now? What's wrong with it? Like, are we really waiting to the trade deadline to do that thing? Like, what's the matter with a tweak right now? What's the matter with it? Is Trent Frederick still on the team?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Okay, because he was on the X advertisement for the game tonight, and I was like, oh, well, they're not trading him tonight then if they put him on the fucking X thing.
Yeah, you would figure that they have some kind of foresight on being able to take people out of that. But if you listen to any of the games on the radio, you get to listen to Trent Frederick absolutely bumble through an ad read. So if they trade him, they're really going to have to do away with that, and I'll be greatly pleased.
Right, sure. Sure. Dan Maynard, I don't know if I can watch the rest of this game. What a fucking joke. Guarantee we lose any momentum for the third. Only get worse from here. And the Bruins scratched out a goal late. Fairly nice play. Brad Marchand extends his point streak to 11 games in a row. That's 2 shy of his career high, and the longest streak, or the oldest guy to have that long of a streak in Bruins
And he's the
history.
longest active streak in the NHL.
Longest active right now. Okay, and then Charlie Coyle had a goal in his 3rd straight game. So I guess that's a silver lining. We wanted to see something from Coyle, and we're starting to see something. So, looked like we suddenly had a burst of momentum in the final 10 seconds, a bit late, that's for sure. Matthew Curtis, how in the actual fuck do you let the Blue Jackets completely clown you? Sorry, John. That's the second time they have 2 4-goal losses to the Columbus Blue Jackets.
That's the Blue Jackets' identity, beating good teams and making them look stupid.
Yeah,
and they even did it for the Tampa Bay Lightning in the first round a few years ago.
Yeah, they've done that. I mean, they've done that this year too. I mean, they've won again. Like I said, they're a pretty good home team. Like they are. It's hard to play there. They feed off the emotion in there. They're playing really well there. January is a brutal stretch of games for the Bruins, says Matthew Curtis. Might be out of a playoff standings by the end, and we won't be able to scrape our way back in. It's going to be tough when they start to play these Atlantic Division teams. A lot of the Eastern Conference teams with Carolina and Washington and whoever, like all the Rangers, even the Rangers, as bad as they are. Do you think the Bruins could beat the Rangers? I mean, that's not a great matchup for them.
I mean, all you need is Shesterkin to get hot for 2 periods, and you get shut out of a game real quick.
Yeah, and Tampa Bay is creeping, Dan. They still have, 3 or 4 games less than the Bruins, so there's time for them to catch up. They're only 2 points behind.
No. They have 5 games in hand.
5 games in hand.
5 games in hand and 2 points behind the Bruins.
Do you think they're going?
You can guarantee that they're going to pass us.
Yeah, they're going to pass the Bruins. There was no message sending, T-Boss. And that's, say what you will about that. I don't know. I mean, again, where's Trent Frederick? Like I keep hearing about Trent Frederick and how he's a Bruin and he's tough and he's this and he's that. Trent Frederick is not what you thought he was. He will not do it. He doesn't do it enough. And Mark Kastelik is Trent Frederick is what Trent Frederick should be for you and should have been for you, and isn't. And I keep hearing about how valuable he is, and I don't see it at all. So, that ship has sailed with Trent. Like, goodbye. But trade him, please, because if there's a lot of interest in him, will you please friggin' trade him? Like, just trade him. I mean, take what you can get and go. You're not going to sign him.
The interest is probably dribbling away by the day.
Yeah. So they should have done it 2 weeks ago.
But he had 16 shifts tonight, 13-19 time on ice. He was a -1, 1 block, 1 hit, 42% in the face-off dot.
Yeah, and what is his plus minus now? Isn't it like minus 13, 14, 15? I mean, it's horrific. Like his this year has been terrible for him.
Let me take a look at his stats here. He is a -13, a whopping -13.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. There's your guy. Dan Maynard watched them play Sway for the next 6 games because of Corpy tonight. But if it was the other way around, they wouldn't blink an eye. They'll go Sway tomorrow, and they'll probably play Sway the next game after that. And I just thought that they should tandem the thing for a while, but we'll see what Swayman gives them tomorrow night. I mean, they're gonna look at Columbus thinks they're better than you. They're beating you silly the last 2 games. Like Columbus is going in there with all sorts of confidence tomorrow night. So you gotta show up and respond to what has happened against them. Sean Corrali does wear a letter for Columbus. I don't miss Sean Corrali 1 iota, but hey, whatever. But he does. Yeah, great. They need more leadership than that. Watching these local media types pussyfooting around Sacco balls, afraid to look him in the eye. Look, the media is the media. They don't want to lose credentials. They don't want to be too critical. They don't want to ask it's not like it used to be. They don't ask the hard questions. They are pretty much working for the team. They dance around questions. They don't get super confrontational like they used to back in the day. It's not newspaper writing anymore. It's just, this is what it is. So if you want that type of shit, come here and won't listen to this because we'll say things. I mean, I'll ask all sorts of questions to Joe Sacco and Don Sweeney, but they would never in a million years come on this program. It pains me to see them fuck up Pasta's career like this. No way this can all be all on him. They're pushing an injured player too far. What are your thoughts on Pasta tonight? I mean, there was that injury late or second period of that last game against Washington. See anything from him that it looked like he was okay?
This is another if this, then that scenario. The Bruins begged and were pissed that Pasta wanted to go play in the World Championships in Czechia last summer to represent his home country while they were hosting. I understand why he wants to play. I get that 100% from his side of things. I also understand the Bruins' point of view where they're like, hey, man, Czechia really doesn't mean donkey shit to the Boston Bruins. Sorry, John.
Right.
And now he comes back after not having a full summer to recover and playing through that tournament injured as it was. And now he's having a down year because of it. I mean, if I were the Boston Bruins, I would be kind of pissed off.
Yeah, I mean, I think they probably are irked by it. I think so. And I think now, and maybe Pasta, maybe there's a little friction there. I mean, maybe there's a little something there where he's kind of pissed with their reaction and whatever. I don't think it's the reason why he's, I think he's still a point per game player. He's not, 2 points per game or whatever, or a point and a half per game like he was last year. I mean, he had a ridiculous year last year. But he also hasn't had great center play. He's the power play is a complete dumpster fire. They try to jam it to him. Teams have absolutely scouted that and taken that one-timer away. So, it's
he is a point shy of a point per game.
Point shy. Yeah, so he's around there. He's not the biggest problem. He's not even close to the biggest problem on this team. The problem on the team is that there's just not enough talent. There's just not – the roster has holes that they haven't filled, and Don Sweeney admitted it. The Rat says bring Patra and Merck up, trade Frederick, dump McLaughlin, trade everyone on the defense. Korpisalo sucks. I mean, the beginning of that is Patra wants to stay in AHL for a little bit longer. I do. I think it's good for his development. I know it's not sexy, and I know that people don't agree with me, and I know, honestly, I don't really give a shit. But what I do say is that I think Patra needed that development in the AHL, and he's getting it now, and I think he gets a little while longer. I'd like to see him come back right around Four Nations tournament time in February. Merkulov, I agree with. Bring the guy up. Like, what more does he need to do? And I mean, I think he's top 5 in assists down there. He had a 30-goal season last year. I mean, what more can he do? You either shit or get off the pot with him. Like, throw him in a trade as a piece or something. Like, do something with him. But bring him up and showcase him a little bit. See if he lights a spark. If you don't want to go on with him, then at least bring him up for 10, 12 games and see if he can do anything that another team would like. And then include him in a trade. But why is he rotting down there? He's the guy, I think, that's rotting down there. And I think he's been wronged in some way by being down there.
Fair. I mean, here's what I try to compare this to players-wise, is the Dallas Stars had Maverick Bourque and Logan Stankoven in the AHL, and they were both 70-plus point players, a point-per-game player in the AHL last year. They brought them both up at the end of last season, and they're now full-time NHLers this year, right? So Maverick Bourque is the one to look at, and he's currently playing on the fourth line in Dallas. He went from 77 points in 71 games wearing the A in the AHL last year to now 28 games played, 7 points in the NHL.
Right.
And that's exactly probably what you're going to get out of a Georgi Merkulov. But you know what they haven't done? They haven't sent him back to the fucking AHL. They have kept him on their roster all year long.
Wow.
They're letting him play through it. He has proven that he is a pretty offensive player in the AHL. Let him work through it. The Bruins will not do that.
The Bruins will not do that with young players. And like I've said before, they expect young players to be perfect when their veterans are not perfect. One iota. And that must be frustrating. That must be frustrating. Senators and Lightning have every chance to take our place in third, says Dan Main, and we are going to drop down that ladder so quickly it's beyond embarrassing. Odysseys. Noted Marshy's at 11-game point streak, Coyle 3-game goal streak, Brazo, Frederick Wallstrom, worst line in hockey right now. Could be. Meanwhile, Lysell is doing wonders down in Providence. So let's bring up Tufty. Here's the thing about Wallstrom. If it looks like a duck and sounds like a duck, it's a duck. Like, all I've heard about is how this guy has this tool and that tool and this tool and a lacrosse goal when he was 9 and all this other stuff. The guy has done 0 in the NHL. And that's not going to change overnight. Like, you brought him in to do 0 with you. Like, so, to me,
you can't bring in a player that's struggling offensively into a system that's struggling with offense and hope that it goes well.
Right.
I'm sorry. This isn't Wallstrom's fault by any means necessary, but like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, if I needed somebody to drive me to the airport, am I going to call somebody who doesn't have a fucking driver's license? Like, that's what I feel like Don Sweeney's doing.
That's what he's doing. Yeah. He's putting him in a situation where he can't score goals anyway. So now he's going to come in with Trent Frederick as a center, and then you're going to expect him to compete and to produce. I mean, that's just silly. That's stupid. So I'd rather have, at that case, I'd rather just bring up Poitras or Lysell or Merkulov or somebody and just have them do it. Why not have them do it? If Wallstrom's going to come here and do nothing, then why not have a rookie come up and do nothing and have him work through it, like you said? I don't understand. I don't.
What's your sip tonight? Before we get in there, what's your sip tonight? T-Boz is becking around here. He sees the blue can in your hands.
Oh, it's a club soda. It's a Polar club soda.
How anticlimactic.
Yeah, there it is. Sorry. I wish I had some weed in there or something, but I don't. But Sweeney's okay. Meme gone viral of Bees being lone team to not have any prospects. Here's the other thing I saw tonight. They have only, I think, 7 guys under 20 years old totally in the organization. So not only are the prospects bad, and they don't have anybody.
No wonder why we're last in prospects. We just don't have any.
Only 7 under 20 years old. So they don't even have any young guys. Like, everybody's older. Like, it's just bad.
But is that because they just own a lot of rights to really young players that they haven't signed? Or, I assume that there's at least a few that we haven't signed and we have the rights to.
I don't know. I don't know. I think that's prospect pool. I think that's even the guys they drafted wasn't, I don't know if the guys like Gronwald and Morello and those guys, I don't know how old those guys are. Those are overagers. I don't even know. But I know that guys like Luck Mellis and all those other guys I have in there are 20, 21. Merkulov's 24, and he's one of your top prospects. So it's pretty bad. I mean, it's as bad as it's ever been because Poitras, Lowry, Beecher all came up. So now it's really thin. Like, it's really thin. It's a bunch of fourth line guys, potentially at best, and then guys who are like 3 years away at best. So it's really not good.
And your regular roster is aging like absolutely soured wine at the moment. So
there's going to be a gap here where there's the only saving grace would be if they could get people to come to Boston as free agents, or if they can make a savvy trade or two. If they can't, there's going to be a time where this roster is going to be flawed for a while. Like, then they waste Pastrnak and McAvoy. Then they waste their years, for sure.
Yeah, and to kind of recap on Grunwald that you mentioned, when he was drafted, he was 18 years old.
Yeah.
Who was the other guy that you mentioned here?
Was it
Morello?
Grunwald and Morello? Yeah.
Morello? Okay. Morello, 154, center, 18.
He's 18. Okay.
18, yeah.
Yeah. And then there's guys like
Handy
Pelosi
dandy
and
that over on the stats.insidetherink.com, we have the catalog of every draft, I think back to the 60s or the 70s, and it has every draft pick from every year and where they're from, the team they were picked by, the number.
Nice.
So,
okay.
Handy dandy.
Nice. I just had something else in my head and I forgot what it was. But Pelosi was the only guy with a fighting chance. He was one of the last cuts of Team USA. But he was close, but he didn't make it. Tonight's cocktail for Jonesy is a sweater weather. A primary assist goes to Breckenridge Bourbon. Likes that Breckenridge Bourbon. The Rat 63, they need to make a trade ASAP, and Sweeney won't. He's a fucking joke. And I'll tell you, they probably won't till the deadline. Unless there's a couple injuries or something happens where I just don't think they will. And I don't know why. Like, just make some move. Just make a move to act like you're alive. Like something. I don't know.
Did the trade freeze end last night or does it end tonight?
I think it ends. I want to say it ends. Was it the 27th? I want to say it's tonight. So at this point, they can trade starting tomorrow starting tomorrow either way.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, yes, Sweeney is going to want to wait to give his team some time to get out of this and, accrue some more cap space, yada, yada, yada. However, there's a lot of other teams in this league right now who are hot for some trades.
Mm-hmm.
And if players start getting picked off the market that the Bruins have pegged for the deadline, maybe they get offered more for somebody like Trent Frederick, or, they have the FOMO and they hop into the trade market to make an addition because they don't want to be caught with their pants down and not have shit at the trade deadline.
Right.
Could be forced into action.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess that's true. Right. I guess that's true. I think you're going to see you're going to see defenseman depth and maybe some veteran guy in his last legs. I mean, you're going to see like JVR and some
JVR and Brendan Dillon.
Yeah, there you go. That's what you're going to see. You're going to see something like that. You are. It's not going to move the needle at all. Salazar 26 says that Marchand shouldn't be wearing the C. What are your thoughts on Marshy as a captain?
So, do I think he is a heart and soul player of this team?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, without a doubt.
However, I feel like wearing the C has put a weight on him that he just can't seem to carry while playing at the same time.
I agree.
That cross is too much for him to bear to be able to play the way that he wants to play. Because your captain can't go out there and play like a douche. They just can't.
No. So, it does take the rat away from him. And Smitty said this before too. Like, that's a big concern with him too, is that it takes away some of that snarl and that pestiness.
Marchand has always played better when people pissed him off or he's done shit that have made other fan bases come after us in Twitter comments. That's when he's been best. And he cannot do that and sit in the penalty box or get suspensions while he wears the C. I think that's something that they probably have also said to him. If not, he's definitely taking it under wraps because I feel like it's extremely noticeable.
Yeah, and I think it's not that he's not capable or that I think that it isn't warranted. It's that I think on his end it changes his game, and that's what I don't love about it. But I think he's the only viable candidate that I would put the C on. Like, I don't see anybody else I would throw the C on, to be honest with you.
The Rat chimed in with that as well in the recent comments that, there's really no other choice.
There's no other choice. Right.
Then you don't have one.
Then you don't have one. Yeah.
There are plenty of teams who have gone a season or two without a captain until they figure that out. And what would have been wrong with waiting a year or two and then seeing if McAvoy is going to get the C? Maybe Pastrnak turns into the C. You know, maybe they acquire another player who comes in here and you slap the C on them.
Yeah.
Who knows?
And I think Salazar said it too. He said, I'm sorry, Marchand has cut a lot of his crap he was doing on the ice since he became captain. And I agree with you. So I don't think it's a knock on Marchand. I think Marchand is totally capable as a human being and a hockey player to be the captain. I just think that it changes his game to a point that I don't love it. You know, I wish they had somebody else they could put the C on. Throw an A on him, fine, or whatever. But I wish they had someone else because the C is a big deal with the Bruins. Maybe I would argue it might be the biggest deal in the league because there haven't been many.
I don't know. So, I mean, they're not the Toronto Maple Leafs still. Even
but the Bruins are up there. The Bruins are up there.
Yeah, you know, I mean, they're probably number 2, to be honest.
Yeah, they've had very few. So this is a big deal for sure. Freddie is invisible, Dan. I haven't seen Freddie in weeks. He scored 2 goals in 2 different games. And other than that, other than the game against St. Louis, his hometown team, and another game, other than that, I haven't seen a damn thing from him. Nothing. Not even like throw a haymaker or something. Something. Do something. He says he's done nothing.
He's been a nobody since the St. Louis game.
He has been. He has been. And I don't know what the problem is. If he just is halfway out the door, trying not to get hurt. I don't know. It could be just trying not to get hurt so he can get his money. I don't know. I have no idea what's wrong with him, but he has been invisible. And again, if the reports are true that there's all sorts of interest in him, then why don't you just do that? Like, I don't understand. Is trading Trent Frederick really going to change things for you? No.
You're going to get a couple draft picks. You're going to piss off some fans.
Yeah. Who cares?
That's it.
Like, just take your draft picks and move on. Take that, whatever that is, 2.3 and move on. Marshy is the only guy worth a letter. Maybe Carlo also. I would agree with that, Odysseys. But the other 2 are so far up their ass, they can't be worrying about their teammates at the same time. And I just don't think Pastrnak or McAvoy are captain material. Pastrnak, because he's a goal scorer. Like, he doesn't need to be the captain. You know, he's a good hockey player. He's a great hockey player. He can do things that other people can't. He can do things that 1% of the world can do at times. And I don't think he needs to be captain. And the McAvoy thing, I don't know. There's something about it. I don't know. I
think that there is a huge problem if one of your core players is not the captain of your team.
Mm-hmm.
Because you should have somebody in that core that the rest of the core follows,
right.
If you do not have a player in your core who is the captain or the leader of your group, they will not get any of the same respect that anybody else would.
Right. T-Boz says that in his opinion, Carlo checked out 15 games ago. He needs to be packaged out ASAP before his value drops. What do you think about Carlo? Would you trade him?
I think he's somebody that you can replace. I mean, he's not like an offensive, dynamo by any means. Mm-hmm. He's a defensive defenseman, and they are out there. Mm-hmm. Brandon Carlo's obviously been here for a while and sort of become a fan favorite of sorts, but he's completely replaceable. Mm-hmm. The thing that would make me want to trade him is he's probably got the most value out of everybody on your
right. And he has term left, and his AAV is really manageable,
really low. It's around $4 million. Yeah.
Yeah. And he plays big minutes, and he plays penalty kill, and he's a good penalty killer. And yeah, I mean, he's still relatively young. I think he's still only 28 years old. So yeah, I mean, he has probably the most value other than your, top tier guy, core guys. He has probably the most value, I would say. So I would, but the problem is that right shot D, very thin there. So if you're going to trade him and get something in return, and then maybe trade a Frederick or something and fill that void on right shot D, then okay. Like,
Look,
I'd like to see what those are like. But I don't know.
If we're trading Brandon Carlo, this isn't a who else are we going to be able to, trade and get something back to do this and do that. No. If we're trading Brandon Carlo, we're also trading this person and this person and this person and this person. And this season doesn't fucking matter anymore.
Right.
That's what that tells me.
Yeah, that's a seller. You only trade Carlo if you've given up on the season.
Now, I'm looking at Brandon Carlo's last 10 games. He's got 1 point. He's a -6.
Wow.
Or -2, excuse me, with 6 PIMs.
That's better. That's better.
7 shots on goal.
Yeah, I mean, that's he's not going to give you much offensively. What you're seeing, Carlo, is like the minutes and the PK.
His minutes aren't even that high. His minutes have been pretty down.
They've been down. I think that's because he hasn't been playing well. Yeah, I think that's because Peak's minutes have been up from what I've seen the last few. I don't know what happened tonight, but Peak's actually playing a decent amount.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those players, like I said, the defensive defensemen are easy to find.
Mm-hmm.
It's, can you find one that doesn't fuck up multiple times a game? How many times do you fuck up? Right. That's how you judge a defensive defenseman, because you don't care if they score. It doesn't matter.
Right.
And tonight for ice time, Brandon Carlo got 1908. Peak got 1645.
Okay.
Zadorov got 2159.
Holy shit. Well, he's playing with McAvoy.
Mason Lowry, 2034.
Okay.
McAvoy, 2002. But that's because, he spent 4 minutes in the penalty box.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think Peak, they revisited that Peak trade on
I sent that to you this morning. I think.
We and it was Peak for a third rounder in 2027 and Jakob Blauko, and that's a sneaky, really good trade. It really is. I mean, Peak's been a solid guy for them in the third pair, and that's what they needed at the time. They needed a right shot D at pretty affordable money. They had some term on him, and he's been really solid. Like, he's been a good solid third pair, and that's a good trade because Lauko blows and that 2027 third rounder, who the hell knows what that's going to be?
Yeah, I mean, that's still a couple of years down the road. The game before the break against Washington, I went and looked at the minutes. Carlo played 17:22.
Mm-hmm.
Peak played 19:40.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Peak has been playing a little bit more than him. And because he's been steady and solid. And that's probably good for Carlo, too, because maybe Carlo will have a little bit of gas left at the end of the year. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. Hopefully.
Cat Briggs says that Marchand is not captain material and to have 3 assistants. So he's on your so Cat is on your side there. Jonesy says Wallstrom may have tools, but they're all from Harbor Freight. I said that about Brazer. So T-Ball said that I said something about Brazer. I said that Brazer was, pretty much a nobody. Well, my problem with Brazer is I've always thought Brazer had decent hands, and he seems to have decent. He's very good. I think he's very good below the goal line. Like, I think he's pretty good, and he's good. He'll actually get his ass in front of the net. So I like those things. It's the skating that really is a hindrance at times, and that's my issue with him. Like, that doesn't lead that to be it doesn't lead to longevity when you can't really skate well, especially in today's NHL game. Becomes a liability at times.
Well, then let me ask you this question, and it wasn't in the comments tonight, but I think it was either the last one that I was on with you or the one you did with Cam. Somebody commented and said that this team is not built for the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
This team is built for the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And Brazeau doesn't need to be fast if he can get himself in front of the net, bang bodies, fight for ice, and use the top flight skill that he does have, which is his hands in front of the net. Will the Bruins even get to the playoffs, though, is the massive question that's on the table.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? I mean, I think they will. I'll tell you this. I'll be slightly surprised if they don't make the playoffs. Right now, Ottawa has all sorts of problems. Both their goaltenders are hurt. They're about to hit what possibly could be a little bit of a slide here. The Bruins just need to play. They need to come back tomorrow night and win. They just need to keep playing 7-3 in their last 10 kind of hockey. And if they do that, they're fine. They're fine. So it's a matter of, can they stay healthy and do that? I don't know.
Well, the thing for the Bruins now that's going to increase the difficulty meter is they're not really playing to compete for the Atlantic Division, in my opinion.
No,
they are competing for a wild card.
Yeah.
And that is going to turn into the wild, wild west. Do the Rangers suck this bad for the rest of the year, or do they figure it out? They're 5 points away from wild card. The team that you just lost to tonight is only 2 points out of a wild card spot, thanks to you now. Right. Pittsburgh in the same boat. Is Pittsburgh, with all those veterans on that team, going to suck that bad? You are really setting yourself up for a much more difficult scenario as this year goes on.
Sure.
By continuing to flub it game over game, especially against these bad teams that you should be beating.
It's going to be a really hot April. It's going to be coming down April. And
there is not going to be any point to sit players for the Boston Bruins.
No, there isn't.
Nobody's getting time off.
Play hard right to the end and play your guys right to the end, heavy minutes. And, I think they can do it. I think they're going to make the playoffs. I still do.
See, I don't. I'm going to be the negative Nancy here and say that they don't.
Do you think they're better off not?
Yes. I think they're better off missing the playoffs. So
what would that entail? So let's say they miss the playoffs and they missed the playoffs, but they're not going to be terrible. So they're picking.
Well, 12. No, here's my dream scenario, right? Do you want my dream scenario?
I do.
If the Bruins go into the next 3 weeks and just absolutely suck and or are middling, and all these other teams are catching up to them in the standings, I want you to move on from the Geekies, the Frederick.
Yeah.
Maybe you trade Carlo, all the expiring deals, move on from whatever you can move on from for draft picks. And I don't even give a flying fuck what year those draft picks are in at the moment. But you are going to make yourself worse so that you can nosedive the second half of the year while bringing up some of those fringe AHLers that you need a good long look at against NHL competition.
Okay, first 3 weeks in January, here's your schedule. I want you to tell me wins or loss.
Okay.
At New York Rangers.
Win.
At Toronto.
Loss.
Home against the Islanders.
Should be a win.
Home against Oilers.
Loss.
2-2. At Tampa.
Loss.
2-3. At Florida.
Loss. Easy loss.
home against Tampa.
Loss.
2-5. At Ottawa.
Win.
3-5. And then San Jose at home.
Win.
4-5. At Jersey.
Loss.
4-6. Ottawa at home.
Probably a win.
5-6.
If their goaltenders are still hurt, both of those Ottawa games, if their goaltender, one of them comes back, we'll split.
5-6. Avalanche at home.
They've struggled this year, but I'll probably say that that's a loss. They've got a lot of talent up front for our sucky defense.
Okay, 5-7, and they have Buffalo on the road.
You got to win that one.
Yeah,
they suck. They're the worst.
6-7, and then you have the Jets. I think that's the Jets.
That's a loss
at home. So you're 6-8 in January. From what you're saying, in January they're 6-8.
And I feel like I was not brutal against the Bruins when I was doing that. I tried to be pretty fair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
So,
mean, I think that I would tend to agree with much of that. Like there might be a win here and a loss here. Like they might lose one of the Ottawas, but they might beat, someone. I don't know. Who knows? Come up with a win at the Devils or something stupid. Who knows?
yeah.
But yeah, it's
And you could
around
also
six and
lay an
eight.
egg against the fucking Sharks,
You could. It's
You just
around.
lost
It's
against the
around
Blue
6 and 8.
Jackets.
Yeah, it's around 500 in January. So you're about 7-7, and then you're still kind of 5 games over 500, and that's just sort of middling. So that's my problem, is that I just don't see them just either crushing it and being really great or completely tanking it and being terrible. I see them being 7-7 in January. Like it's just, and that doesn't force Don Sweeney to do much of anything. It just kind of keeps them right where they are. So unless they can come out, I mean, that's a real tough stretch. They have to play Tampa Bay twice in Florida and the Rangers and the Maple Leafs. Like, it's a really tough stretch there. Then Winnipeg later and the Devils. Like, January is tough.
And the
And they
Pittsburgh
play that one
Penguins.
cupcake, 2 cupcakes, Sharks and Sabres.
Yeah, and I just quickly looked at the Pittsburgh Penguins schedule. They've got just the easy wins that I'm looking at. I'll split them with Seattle, give them one against Seattle, Ottawa, Buffalo, Anaheim, Utah, and San Jose.
Right.
That's 6 wins right there. And then that's not even counting any of the toss-up games that they could have.
Right.
And they'd be right on your heels as the Bruins in the wild card standings now. So, I mean, if you're a Bruins fan, yeah, it sucks that we're not in the top 3 in the Atlantic Division, but hey, life just got a lot more interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. And T-Boss says that's a poll waiting to happen. So we're gonna maybe have to do that on social media. Just say, hey, here are the 14 games in January. Where do they go? I don't know. It's gonna be maddening. I mean, if they get in, they barely get in. They probably lose in the first round. The Jacobs get their ticket gates. The Bruins, are gonna do something in the off season. Who knows what? I don't even know who they get, what they get.
For Bruins meet here, yes, absolutely. I am already booking that the Bruins will not place in the top 3 in the Atlantic Division. So it's wild card or bust.
It's going to be really hard for them to make the top 3. It is. Because Tampa Bay and Florida are better. And I'm sorry, Toronto and Florida are better. And Tampa Bay is going to pass you, and you're going to have to be playing catch up to them. So I'm kind of in agreement.
Toronto and Florida both have a game in hand as well. So,
right. Yeah, you're going to have to win both those Tampa games, I think, to have a chance to.
You are going to have to play hard and win games against the teams that you are needing to steal points from.
Yeah, the good teams. Yeah. Bruins Meat also says he's good with selling pieces and being horrible for the rest of the year. I am too, but here's the problem: that unless that's okayed by the ownership, that is the only way Don Sweeney loses his job. So I don't think he's willing to do that. So he's going to scratch and claw his way to a first round.
I've said this before, and I will say it again, that Don Sweeney should look right down 95 into Raleigh, North Carolina, and look at how they've built their team. They do not overspend on any player internally, no matter what. If they have a price set for you and you want way more than that, they move on from you, and that is okay. And they go and they weaponize that extra cap space that they earn themselves by being rigid. And they acquire the players like Brent Burns, as a cap dump, essentially.
Right.
And they get a really solid, serviceable player and basically get paid to take him.
Right. Yeah, they've done
it. Why can't you, as the Bruins, not be able to do that? There is no reason that you can't.
I don't know. That's just not what they do.
They do not get creative.
They're not creative.
All.
They're not creative at all. They're very linear. They just sort of stay with what they have. They're very conservative. They win trades, and if they don't win the trade, they don't make the trade. And in some of those cases, won the trade going away. They were lucky to do so, but they don't typically make hockey trades, which is, send a guy who's pretty good. The last time they did that was like Riley Smith for Jimmy Hayes, and that didn't go well. God rest his soul, but it didn't go well. Like Riley Smith turned into a pretty good hockey player, and you cut bait on him, and that wasn't a good move. So he just got gun shy ever since that. I don't know if that was the problem, but.
And what was even worse is Riley Smith was part of the Tyler Seguin trade tree. So that's even worse that you traded him away and got garbage.
That's even worse. That's even worse. Yeah. And Frank Vatrano, like at the time, I didn't really care Frank Vatrano was kind of a one-trick pony, in my opinion. He did have a really good year. I don't know if it was last year or we had 30 goals, whatever. He's always had a great shot. I mean, talk about elite skill. He has an elite shot. So he can score a goal here or there. It was a dumpster fire defensively. Like, just not the guy that you're going to win with. I mean, look, he's been on bad teams. But, again, they could use a guy like Vatrano who could potentially score a goal here and there. For sure.
Absolutely.
It's inevitable whether he makes the playoffs this year or not. No one C out
There's
there.
There's no 1C out there. No one. No first line center.
God, no. Oh, God, no. They're just not going to get that. They're not going to get that. So that's why I said to throw the bag at Jake Gensel in the offseason.
This coming offseason, there's going to be plenty of high-scoring wingers out there if things stay the way they are.
I mean, I'd love to see them try to get, I don't know, name a guy.
Would you throw $14 million at Mikko Rantanen this offseason?
Yes, sure. Sure. I'd throw, I don't know, 14. I don't know if anybody's going to throw 14 at a winger, but let's say 12. Yeah. Jesus, you need guys who can play offense and score goals and be dynamic. You need those guys. There's no dynamics to this team. It's just like a plodding men's league type team.
Well, I mean, David Pasternak's supposed to be the dynamic, but he's not dynamic enough.
It's not dynamic enough. No, it's not dynamic enough.
It's not how much you've done; it's how much have you done for us lately.
Yeah, for sure. That's for sure. Well, anyway, Bruins lose 6-2 tonight. It was a complete dog and pony show tonight in Columbus. Tomorrow night, we'll be back at it after Bruins Columbus 2.0 right here at the TD Garden. Hopefully the Bruins can rebound and finally beat the Columbus Blue Jackets. Thanks a lot, everybody, for the comments again tonight. We'll see you again tomorrow night. Until then, as always, go Bruins.
See you later.